A thread by Carlos Osuita. Here's a great example of a completely meaningless poll. How satisfied are you with the US government's current response to the coronavirus outbreak? Comes out to 62% not very satisfied or not at all satisfied. Oh no, they blame Donald Trump. We are doomed. Hold on there, Screamy. Let's look at the results based on the Democrats. Yep, 95% of Democrats are not very satisfied or not satisfied at all. Look at the poll, 85%, 10%. They add up to 95%. Anyone with a brain knows that this figure is not based on anything factual. It simply confirms what we knew, that Democrats are insane. The sane people, they are 60% mostly satisfied or completely satisfied with their state and local government's response to the pandemic. Pure partisan fanaticism. They've crossed the Rubicon and can't come back. But we already knew that. Remember, a landslide victory does not mean a historic landslide in the popular vote. Take enough counties and you win the state. So it doesn't matter that Democrats can't give Trump credit for anything. Those aren't the Democrats who were going to vote for him. I'd say that most former Democrats planning to vote for Trump are not registering as Republicans. They're independents. It's freaky how virtually everybody is relying on polls, again, despite the fact that the polls can't tell you Trump's support. There are three reasons. One, in 2016, a massive number of voters changed their minds after they were last polled. Two, in 2016, most Trump supporters refused to be polled. Three, in 2016, all the first-time voters could not be polled. All three factors are even more in play this year. Hillary was not a terrible candidate, and the country did not hate her. She won the popular vote. Biden is without question a terrible candidate. And Kamala Harris is making history as the first vice presidential candidate to seal the doom of the presidential candidate who chose her. She is hated. Finally, we have the Republicans speaking at the Democratic convention. They're all freaks. John Kasich, Christine Todd Whitman, Meg Whitman, Susan Molinari. What's worse than a clusterfuck? I don't know. But the Democrats are putting one on for us. No Democrats are canvassing. All Republicans are. Democratic members of Congress are calling for more riots. And you can always count on Trump haters to be really, really stupid. From Forbes.com, U.S. Post counters Trump attacks on mail-in voting with a new blockchain patent. Quote, as news of Trump trying to shut down the United States Postal Service and stall mail-in voting captures the headlines, the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office today made public a patent application from the USPS titled Secure Voting System that describes using blockchain technology to secure mail-in voting. The patent was applied for in February, genius, and Trump isn't going to shut down the U.S. Postal Service. Trump did a Br'er Rabbit and said, whatever you do, please don't have universal mail-in voting. The strategy works on multiple levels. The USPS technology prevents fraudulent ballots from being mailed in. And even if the whole thing is a mess for months, it just means Chuck Grassley, Republican, Iowa, becomes president and Mike Pompeo becomes vice president. Or Secretary of Defense Mark Esper becomes president. That's why Trump has been pretending to be feuding with Esper. There's always a designated survivor, as they're called. Nobody knows this, of course. That's because nobody knows how anything works. The Constitution doesn't actually say that the official line of succession comes into play if there are no election results. On January 3rd, 2012, Nancy Pelosi is no longer Speaker of the House. What happens after that is unknown. The only thing said in concrete is the designated survivor. You can bet that Trump will have one before the election. No election results is not the same as Trump being voted out of office. We will need a government. Since the Constitution doesn't actually say a word about the line of succession in the case of no election, the official line of succession is not constitutional. It's not authorized by law. The entire cabinet remains in place until retained or removed by the new president. Since there won't be a new president if the election results are not known for months, the only entirely lawful answer is that one of Trump's cabinet secretaries becomes president. I predict the Secretary of Defense. So stop worrying about Democrats stealing the election. They can't. Check this out. She's hysterical because she knows her party is sunk. From YouTube, Alyssa Milano can't believe Joe Rogan is more popular than her in insane Twitter meltdown. Link in the description. I know now that the terror of the moment is violence at polling stations. Federal crime, 18 USC subsection 594, intimidation of voters. Quote, whoever intimidates, threatens, coerces, or attempts to intimidate, threaten, or coerce any other person for the purpose of interfering with the right of such other person to vote, or to vote as he may choose, or of causing such other person to vote for or not to vote for any candidate for the office of president, vice president, presidential elector, member of the Senate, member of the House of Representatives, delegate from the District of Columbia, or resident commissioner at any election held solely or in part for the purpose of electing such candidate shall be fined under this title or imprisoned not more than 1 year or both. So the feds will be there. Nobody knows how anything works. That's why you're so afraid and will remain so forever. I can't imagine choosing to remain that way.